guys, Ethan here, and today I'm showing you guys the best investments to make from Team of the Week 16. There's some really good cards to get here that can make you a lot of profit if you get them at the right price. And I'd say the best time to buy these cards is on Thursday evenings with FUT Champion rewards, and also on Sunday evenings with Squad Battle rewards. If you get your cards then, you can get them at the cheapest. They're going to rise up in the coming weeks, and you can make a lot of coins by doing that. So looking at the main Team of the Week, I would recommend staying away from the expensive players, the likes of Pogba, Dybala, Sanchez, Ali, Arnautovic, and Firmino, just because with Team of the Year coming up, we're going to see a lot of high-end cards drop down in value, and also it's always riskier investing in the higher budget cards. I find it a lot more effective to go and get a lot more cheaper cards than one big expensive card. So we're going to ignore those, but the main investments you're looking at are cards for SBCs from this Team of the Week, so either discard price informs or high-rated cheap cards, as well as a couple of other investments I'm going to show you. But the main one for me is Lovren. I think he's a great investment to get. He's not a good card, he doesn't have good stats, but for SBCs, he's an 84 rated Premier League inform, and also he plays for Liverpool, and there's people like Coutinho, Firmino and Salah who are consistently in Player of the Month predictions, as they've been really good recently. And right now he's around 20,000 coins. I could see him hitting a little bit cheaper than that, maybe around 18, 19k, and that'll be a great price to get him for, as he is a very high rated inform from the Premier League. For that price, you're not going to find many better deals, and I think he's by far the cheapest 84 rated inform in the Premier League, and he's actually one of the cheapest 84s in general, and the fact he is in the Premier League playing for Liverpool is going to make his price go up even more. So definitely one of the best investments from this Team of the Week. And we also have Nkulu. He's a lot cheaper, he's around 12 or 13k. I could see him hitting even cheaper. If he hits maybe 11 to 12k, pick him up, as he's got good stats, plays in a good league, and is likely to rise in price for SBCs. Often we see informs, when they're required maybe for a Player of the Year SBC for example, rise to around 15 or 16k, no matter what league they play, and just informs in general rise up. And if you get someone like this with good stats in a good league, I think he could easily hit 15 or 16k in the coming weeks. So if you get him cheap enough, for me 11 to 12k, I reckon that is a good price to get him for. Ake, he's actually got a very good card, really good pace, good defending, good physical, and great passing and dribbling for a centre back too. He's got one of the best cards I've actually seen, especially for this price in the Premier League, and he could become a very, very popular player. And right now he's around 40k. If he hits about 35k or less, just monitor his price and try and get him as cheaply as you can, because with those stats, he is very, very good on the game. I reckon a lot of people, if he starts getting hyped up maybe by some FUT Champions players, some pro players, he could rise up a lot in value. I mean, just looking at the stats, over 80 for pace, defending and physical is very rare on a centre back. Combine that with great dribbling and passing as well, and the fact he plays in the Premier League, and I think that is a very good investment. If you get him at the right price, under 35k is a good price to get him for. And then Edison, I think he's a great investment to get if you get him cheap enough. Around 60k I think is a good price for him. Maybe a little bit more, maybe about 65,000 coins, anything around that kind of price, 60 to 65k I think is a good price to get him for, because he's a Manchester City keeper. You can link him up to all the City players getting informs right now, and pretty much every City player is getting informs, the players that are starting. I think you can already build a full special card City team, and we're only kind of halfway through the season. But I think with the likes of Otamendi, who's been really good, Stones, who's been really good, they're going to start getting more informs. A lot of them already have special cards. Edison's going to be your main player to link to them. He's also, I believe, the best Brazilian keeper on the game right now. I mean, looking at those stats, he's got all the stats you want for a keeper there. I mean, really good diving, great reflexes. He's already a great and very popular player just with his normal gold card. I think this one is going to be one of the most popular cards in the Premier League. For those of you who can't afford De Gea, as he's around twice, maybe even 3 times the price of him, I think behind De Gea he's going to be the most popular keeper in the Premier League, and since he's so much more affordable, and since he's a special card, that makes him quite desirable. I think a lot of people are going to use him, and he may become one of the go-to keepers in the Premier League on Ultimate Team. So if you can get him for around 60 to 65,000 coins, I think that's a great price to pick him up for. And then dropping down onto the bench reserves, I think Perrin is a great investment. As an 85 rated inform, he's, I believe, the cheapest or joint cheapest along with Luis Gustavo from the last Team of the Week. As an 85 rated inform, he's got a good league, some really good stats, and a good nation too. If you can get him for maybe 23, 24k, that's a great price. I would definitely recommend picking him up. Den Donker, I think he's a good investment as he's Belgian. We've got the likes of Hazard, De Bruyne and Lukaku, just to name a few, as Belgian players in the Premier League who are playing quite well, especially with Hazard and De Bruyne. Right now Lukaku hasn't been on the best of form, but if they have good months in the league, you're going to see a lot of their inform cards from their nation rise up in value just because of Player of the Month hype. And for such a cheap price, with actually a very good card, I mean, as a centre-back, he's got good pace, great defending and physical, and just a really good, well-rounded card. And I reckon he could definitely rise in value with Player of the Month hype. Right now, he's around 12 to 13k. If you can get him for that 11 to 12k mark, definitely try and pick him up. Try and snipe him, try and get him on bid, just get him cheaply, and you can make some good coins right there. Izquierdo, I think he's a little bit too expensive as an investment right now, just because there's so many options on the left-hand side of the pitch in the Premier League. You've got the likes of Sane, who's very popular, Son, Martial, and they have quite similar stats to Izquierdo. And since he's a lot more expensive and doesn't have the best of clubs or nations to link to him, I mean, if you want to get a strong link, you're going to have to use either a Colombian player in the Premier League, or you're going to have to use a Brighton player, and there aren't many good players from either of those. So the main thing you're going to need to do is build like a full Premier League team. It kind of limits you, and for that reason I don't think he's going to rise in value too much, so not the best investment there. But if he hits maybe 20k or less, you could maybe pick up one or two of him, but not one of the best ones there. Braithwaite actually has a great card, but he's on the wing, and his default card's a striker, which is a pity. I mean, if he was a striker, I think he'd have gone up a lot more, but over 80 in all but defending is very, very good, and he's actually quite cheap. I mean, 13k or so. I think it's a decent investment. Also, one of the few Danish informs in the game, especially in quite a usable league. There are quite a few more gold cards in the Championship, for example. I think, yeah, he does play in the Championship, right? Yeah, he does. For Middlesbrough right there. I think most of the other Danish informers play in random leagues where there aren't many gold cards, and the reason for that is because if Eriksen has a good month in the Premier League, and he's been really good so far this season, if he gets a lot of goals or assists, the cards from his nation are going to rise up a lot in value. And I think if an SBC required Danish informers potentially, this would be the main one to go to, just because of his rating and the fact he plays in a league where there are quite a few gold cards to link to him to get the rating for a team up. So I think if you can get him for maybe 12k or so, that'll be a great investment to get. So he's about 13 now. Just try and snipe him for 12k and you get yourself a great investment there. Snodgrass, playing in the Premier League, or in the Championship rather, I think is a good investment if you get him cheap enough. He's discard price pretty much. If you can get him for about 10 to 11k, try and get him as cheaply as you can. He's not got a good card because of that pace and the fact he's on the wing. Apart from that, he does have some good stats, but he's so slow for a winger, no one's going to use him, but he's going to be useful for SBCs just because of the fact he's an 81 rated inform, and you can get him near discard price, so I'd definitely recommend picking him up. Willian is quite expensive, and I normally don't recommend getting expensive informs, but if he drops to maybe 140, 130k. Right now he's around 160 on Xbox One. I think he could be a good purchase because you don't have many options on the right hand side in the Premier League. You've got Sterling, Salah and Willian. You've got Mkhitaryan too, but he hasn't really had any special cards and isn't that quick, so not many people like to use him. And Sterling lacks the finishing ability as well. To make him very popular on Ultimate Team. Salah's very good, but a lot of his cards are as a striker. He only has one special card, I believe, in the right wing position, and it's quite low rated in comparison to his other special cards. And because of the links, I think Willian is probably a better option, just because you can link him obviously to all the great Chelsea players or Brazilian players. You can link him to someone like Bakayoko or Kante. Whereas if you're using Salah on the right hand side, you're either going to need to use someone like Klein, who's decent but not amazing on Ultimate Team, or a midfielder from Liverpool, and there aren't too many great options. You've got like Jordan Henderson, people like that. I think Willian is probably the best option in terms of links. He's got a much better nation, Brazil, and I think he could become the most popular right winger in the Premier League on Ultimate Team. So if you get him cheap enough, could actually go up a lot in value, just because Willian on his own is a very popular card. A lot of people like using him, and with the special variant with a lot of boosted stats, I reckon he could become a very popular player on the game. Quagliarella, discard price inform, just like people like Snodgrass and Braithwaite. Get them cheap enough, maybe 11 to 12k, good price there. And then these three, or these four rather, if you can get them for under about 10.5k, pick them up, get them on bid. I mean, a card like this that you see here, just put a bid on it and try and get them as cheaply as you can. Just get a couple of these, store them in your club, and if any SBCs come out that require an inform, quite a low rated team, something like that, for example, for any of the Player of the Year SBCs we've had, like Valeri, we've had a few others from some random leagues, and often informs rise to about 13, 14k, so if you can get anyone like this really for 10k or so, just store one or two of each in your club and on your transfer list, and you could make some good profit in the future. And it's a very low risk and very low budget investment there. So if you're asking me for what the best investments in my opinion are from this team of the week, maybe the best 5 or best 3, I'd go with Lovren number 1. I think he's a great investment because of his rating, the fact he plays in the Premier League and for Liverpool. I also think down on the bench there's a lot of good options. Perrin's a great investment to make, as is Dendoncker. Braithwaite too. Both of them, they've got decent cards and they've got good nations for potential player of the month hype that could make their prices rise. And then I think these guys here that you can get for about 10k. It's been a while since we've had really complete discard price informs in a team of the week. So if you can get maybe, I'd say Wilson's probably the best out of these ones, and maybe this guy here, Alessandro, just because of the fact he plays for England. English nationality is always good for player of the month hype. So I'd say some of these ones down here, they're good investments as they're complete discard price, no risk at all. Braithwaite, Dendoncker, Perrin and Lovren. But you've got lots of good ones, and Kulu's also a great investment. Just loads of good investments from this team in the week, and a lot of them are pretty cheap too. But I would recommend staying away from those more expensive informs. And also Lingard, I forgot to mention him. I wouldn't recommend getting him just because he's already got a Footmas SBC card, so there's a little bit less hype around him. He already has another special card on the game, so there's less kind of demand to pick him up because he already had a special card release. So there we go. Those are the best investments from the team of the week. Hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new, and I'll catch you in my next video. Take care.